When driving near heavy trucks, other drivers and highway users must make allowances for a. The increased stopping distance required by large vehicles. b. The decreased stopping distance required by large vehicles. c. The decreased noise of larger vehicles. d. The increased speed of larger vehicles. a. The increased stopping distance required by large vehicles. When driving near heavy trucks, other drivers and highway users must make allowances for the increased stopping distance required by the large vehicles. Drivers of smaller vehicles should remain in locations where they can be seen by the driver of the large vehicle and where their view of traffic is not blocked by the vehicle. You have the right of way when turning left on which of the following traffic signals? A. A solid green light. B. A flashing yellow light. C. A green arrow pointing left. D. A flashing red light. C. A green arrow pointing left. A green steady arrow means you may pass through the intersection in the direction that the arrow is pointing. Oncoming traffic is required to stop for turning traffic. When you see or hear an emergency vehicle coming, you should A. Stop immediately and let the vehicle pass. B. Drive as far toward the right side of the road as is safe and stop. C. Proceed slowly and permit the vehicle to pass. D. Keep moving slowly, staying to the right side of the road. B. Drive as far toward the right side of the road as is safe and stop. When driving on a two-lane roadway or undivided highway, you must yield to an emergency vehicle using its lights and/or siren, regardless of the direction from which it is approaching. Immediately drive as near as possible to the right side of the road and stop, taking care not to stop within an intersection. Fog can greatly reduce the visibility of other vehicles, pedestrians, and traffic signals. When driving in fog, you should A. Drive cautiously and reduce your speed. B. Not use your high beam headlights. C. Use low beam headlights to better illuminate the road and objects. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Fog can greatly reduce your ability to see other vehicles, pedestrians, and traffic signals. When driving in fog, drive cautiously and at reduced speeds. Do not use high beam headlights. Low beams better illuminate the road and objects ahead in foggy conditions.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
When approaching a steady red traffic light, drivers should A. Drive through the intersection if there is no crossing traffic. B. Continue driving, as they have the right of way. C. Stop only if a police officer is nearby. D. Come to a complete stop. D. Come to a complete stop. A steady red traffic light indicates that drivers must come to a complete stop. Driving through a red light is against the law and is extremely dangerous. Drivers may turn right on a steady red light if there is no sign prohibiting a turn on red. This sign shows one type of A. Intersection. B. Road curve. C. Right turn. D. Lane change. A. Intersection. This sign indicates that an intersection with a crossing road is ahead. Increase your following distance when A. Driving behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision. B. Exiting an expressway. C. Following a motorcycle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should increase your following distance when you are behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision, when driving in bad weather or heavy traffic, when exiting an expressway, when behind a motorcycle or bicycle, and if someone is tailgating you. You may continue carefully through an intersection with a yellow light if A. There is an emergency vehicle crossing your lane. B. There are pedestrians crossing. C. You are turning right. D. You are already within the intersection when the light changes to yellow. You are driving in the left lane and want to move into the right lane. You should A. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your left shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. C. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over both shoulders for other vehicles before changing lanes. D. Check your mirrors, signal, and change lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. When changing lanes, you should check your vehicle's blind spots by looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. Always check your mirrors and turn on your directional signal before beginning a lane change. Traffic signals sometimes display arrows to control turns from specific lanes. A green arrow A is used only on one-way streets. B has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic must turn in the direction indicated by the arrow. C means that you may proceed, but only if the green arrow is accompanied by a circular green light. D points the way to an airport. B has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic must turn in the direction indicated by the arrow. A green arrow has the same meaning as a circular green traffic light, but traffic in the indicated lane must turn in the direction shown by the arrow. This sign means A. No parking. B. Divided highway ahead. C. Left turn signal. D. Yield. A. No parking. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign indicates that parking is not permitted. Information you need in order to drive safely is gained primarily by A. Seeing. B. Talking to yourself. C. Following other traffic. D. Turning the radio. A. Seeing. Almost all of the information you need in order to safely drive is obtained by seeing. You should have a constant awareness of conditions in your vehicle's vicinity. Special attention should be devoted to conditions a considerable distance ahead of your vehicle. A solid white line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. White lines are used to separate traffic moving in the same direction. Solid lines indicate that drivers are not permitted to pass. Stress can affect your driving by A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. B. Decreasing your chances of an accident. C. Causing you to fall asleep at the wheel. D. Making you more aware of others around you. A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. Emotions can have a great effect on your driving ability. You may not be able to drive well if you are overly worried, excited, afraid, angry, or sad. Stress can lessen your concentration on the task of driving. It is better to wait to drive than to risk driving while you are emotionally unstable. You wish to drive a heavy truck in Hawaii. You must A. Be at least 21 years old. B. Have a valid driver license for the category of vehicle you wish to drive. C. Have no special qualifications. D. Drive the truck only on truck routes. B. Have a valid driver license for the category of vehicle you wish to drive. Drivers of large vehicles must hold a valid license for the category of vehicle being driven. Information on all types of driver licenses may be found in the Hawaii Driver's Manual. Having a few drinks before driving home after work. A. Is good because you will miss rush hour traffic. B. Is good because the drinks will help release the day's tension and make you a safer driver. C. Should be avoided because the drinks may make you a dangerous driver. D. Never hurt anyone. C. Should be avoided because the drinks may make you a dangerous driver. Driving a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol is prohibited in Hawaii. Alcohol slows normal reflexes, interferes with judgment, reduces alertness, and impairs vision. If you feel stimulated after drinking, it is simply because your inhibitions are lowered, causing a loss of caution and self-control. It is safest to refrain from driving when you have consumed any quantity of alcohol. You must yield to other drivers. A. When entering a street from a garage or alley. B. When they are on a road to your left and you have reached an unmarked intersection at the same time. C. When your traffic signal is a green arrow. D. All of the above. A. When entering a street from a garage or alley. You must yield to other drivers when entering a street from an alley, driveway, or garage. You must also yield to pedestrians who are on an intersecting sidewalk. When driving on slick roads, you should A. Take turns more slowly than usual. B. Change lanes quickly. C. Accelerate quickly. D. Brake hard. A. Take turns more slowly than usual. While it is always dangerous to drive too fast on slippery roads, this is especially true when driving in turns and curves. Be sure to approach them more slowly in slippery conditions than you would under normal circumstances. If you see this sign above your lane, you A. May not exit the freeway. B. May either continue through the interchange or exit the freeway from your current lane. C. May stay in your lane and continue through the interchange. D. Must exit the freeway, if you stay in your current lane. D. Must exit the freeway, if you stay in your current lane. If a yellow panel with the message, "Exit only," is on a highway sign, the lane below the sign will not continue through the interchange. Instead, the lane will go off of the roadway to form a ramp. If you are in a lane directly under an "Exit only" sign, you may change lanes to move through the interchange or you must exit the highway. This road sign means A. Parking spaces are reserved for people with disabled parking permits. B. A circular intersection is ahead. C. Traffic in the lane must turn in the direction of the arrow. D. Lanes are reserved for buses and vehicles with a driver and one or more passengers. This sign means A. Roundabout ahead. B. Lane ends, merge left. C. Turn around. D. Curve ahead. A. Roundabout ahead. This sign indicates that a roundabout is ahead. Enter a roundabout at a low speed and yield to existing traffic. A copy of your vehicle inspection certificate? A. Should be kept in the vehicle. B. Should be filed with your income tax return. C. Should be kept in a safe place in your home. D. Will be sent to you by the County Department of Finance. A. Should be kept in the vehicle. All motor vehicles operated on public highways must have an official periodic motor vehicle inspection (PMVI) at least once a year. Upon approval, a sticker is affixed to the vehicle and 2 copies of the inspection certificate are issued to you. The certificate must remain in the vehicle. This sign means A. You must drive slowly and sound your horn. B. A bus stop is ahead. C. You are entering a school's parking lot. D. A school zone is ahead. D. A school zone is ahead. Warning signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazardous conditions and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that they are approaching a school zone and that they should slow down and watch for children. You may park or stop along the shoulder of the freeway. A. As long as you turn on your 4-way emergency flashers. B. If no part of your vehicle is on the road. C. If you need to look at a map for directions. D. Only if you have an emergency. D. Only if you have an emergency. It is prohibited to park on the shoulder of a freeway, except in an emergency. When merging onto a freeway, it is usually best to A. Proceed slowly while waiting for an opening. B. Accelerate to a speed that is faster than the speed of traffic. C. Turn on your hazard lights until safely on the freeway. D. Accelerate to the speed of freeway traffic. D. Accelerate to the speed of freeway traffic. When entering a freeway, use the on-ramp to accelerate to the speed of freeway traffic so you can blend in smoothly and safely. Entering traffic must yield to traffic already on the freeway. The risk of hydroplaning can be reduced by driving A. Through shallow water. B. More quickly. C. More slowly. D. Through deep water. C. More slowly. Because hydroplaning is caused by driving too quickly in wet conditions, the risk of it happening can be reduced by driving more slowly. When riding in a vehicle, small children A. may be safely held by a strong adult. B. will be safe if they are standing on the floor in the back of the vehicle. C. will not be hurt in an accident because they are small. D. must never be allowed to ride while standing in the vehicle. D. must never be allowed to ride while standing in the vehicle. Special child seats are available for children who are too small to wear regular safety belts. No person is strong enough to safely hold onto a child of any size during an accident or sudden stop. Never allow a child to ride in a vehicle unless they are properly fastened into a seat. When dealing with pedestrians, a driver must A. Make sure the pedestrian is aware of their vehicle. B. Always yield the right of way, even if the pedestrian is in the wrong. C. Yield the right of way only when the pedestrian is legally entitled to it. D. Slow down and sound their horn near a crosswalk. B. Always yield the right of way, even if the pedestrian is in the wrong. You must do everything you can to prevent striking a pedestrian or another vehicle, regardless of the circumstances. It is the driver's basic responsibility to be alert to pedestrians and to yield the right of way to all pedestrians, even if the pedestrian is crossing the street where they should not be. A seat belt should be adjusted so that it A. Is loose. B. Is buckled snugly across your hip bones and lower abdomen. C. Is hidden beneath the seat. D. Keeps the seat belt buzzer or light from operating. B. Is buckled snugly across your hip bones and lower abdomen. Lap belts should fit snugly across your hip bones and the lower part of your abdomen. Shoulder belts should sit comfortably so that you can insert your fist between the belt and your chest. When your driver license expires, you may A. Drive during the 90-day grace period. B. Drive as long as you are accompanied by a licensed driver. C. Renew your driver license within a year of the expiration date but may not drive with the expired license. D. Drive to and from work only. C. Renew your driver license within a year of the expiration date but may not drive with the expired license. You may renew your license within 6 months of its expiration date. Every Hawaii state driver license is void after the expiration date, with no grace period. Your license may be renewed within a year of the expiration date.